everybody, what is up, mortals? It is zor-el here with a new video and a new series for you. Welcome to Season 1, Part 1 of What If the Big Three Were in 1A. I just wanted to greet you guys by saying, sit back and relax. You're in for a treat. So, we begin. Mirio Togata walked into the large auditorium. Whoa, he breathed out. There were hundreds of students gathered. Everyone was here for one reason. The chance to be accepted into the best hero school in Japan, UA High. Mirio felt a bump. He looked behind him to see his friend Tamaki Yamajiki clinging to his jacket. There are so many people here, Tamaki whispered nervously. Mirio smiled and patted his back. Well, what did you expect? Tamaki was visibly shaking. I want to go home, he said pitifully. No, you don't, Mirio said. You want to be a hero, same as me. We are gonna ace the exam, get into UA, and become the greatest heroes in history. Tamaki tried to smile. Right. The two found their seats and waited for the exam to start. Mirio was shaking almost as badly as Tamaki, but with excitement, not nervousness. All his life, Mirio had admired heroes. To get the opportunity to train to become one? Well, he didn't know how he ended up being so lucky. His quirk wasn't necessarily one that screamed hero. Tamaki's, on the other hand. Well, Mirio had always been confident his buddy would become a pro hero. Mirio, Tamaki said, maybe you should just calm down. You're jogging your legs so hard that you're vibrating my seat. Oops, sorry, Mirio said, trying to stay still. I just can't wait. Me neither, a girl's voice said from behind them. Tamaki practically flew out of his seat. Oops, she laughed. Didn't mean to startle you. My bad. It's okay, Mirio said. Tamaki nodded and ducked his head. She leaned over her seat and offered a hand. Hi, I'm Nejire Hado. What are your names? Mirio Togata, Mirio said. Tamaki Yamajiki, Tamaki stuttered. Nice to meet you, she chirped. Are you psyched or what? Psyched out, Tamaki muttered under his breath. We're totally psyched, Mirio said, matching Nejire's enthusiasm. So, what are your quirks? Why do you want to go to UA? Do you want to go pro? She asked a barrage of questions. Tamaki hunched further down in his seat. Mirio beamed. It was so nice to meet someone friendly. He was afraid that the competition would set everyone on edge. My quirk is permeation, he explained. Basically, I can phase through things. I've been practicing my control over it, and, well, not to brag or anything, but I've gotten pretty good. UA is my #1 choice for a school. Only the best of the best get in, and that means only the best of the best of the best graduate. He paused to take a breath. He didn't mean to put his heart on his sleeve, but Hado-san was curious, and he was all too eager to share his hopes and dreams. I would really like to be a pro hero someday, Mirio continued. My goal is to save at least 1 million people. Nejire clapped her hands excitedly. Good for you! I'm really looking forward to seeing you in action. I hope you get in. Heck, I hope I get in. My quirk is wave motion. It drains me a lot, but I can use it to make energy waves that I can blast out of my hands and feet. You can imagine the havoc it wreaked when my quirk first developed. She laughed. But yeah, I want to be a pro and save lots of people too. UA is my first step to achieving that. She turned to Tamaki, eyebrows raised expectantly. Tamaki shrunk further into his hoodie. Nejire leaned over the back of his chair and gently reached towards him. She slowly pulled his hood off his head. Well, you're just a little kitten, aren't you? She said, smiling. Tamaki blushed and pulled away. I want to be a pro hero too, he started. UA makes good students into great heroes. I hope I can cut it. His eyes darted around, taking in the myriad of students present in the auditorium. He was sure they all had more impressive quirks than him. Better training, too. His stomach started feeling queasy. You'll do fine, Nejire said chipperly. So, what's your quirk then? Tamaki opened his mouth to answer, but it was cut off by a hero entering the room. It was Present Mike, a member of the faculty at UA. Are you all ready to get started? He asked. Tamaki flinched and covered his ears. Man, this guy was loud. Mirio laughed. Boy, if we get in, I'm gonna look forward to having him for a teacher. Tamaki shrugged while Nejire giggled. President Mike went on to explain how the exam would work. It was a field test of sorts, where the students would be battling mock villains. They could go all out with their power since their opponents were robots. There were a few different types of foes and each had a number of points assigned to them. Take one down and you get the points. It sounded simple enough. Mirio got his assigned location and started heading out the door. He glanced back once to check on Tamaki. He was staring at the ground. Nejire bounded up behind him and put her arm around his neck. She excitedly started talking to him as they walked away. It looked like they'd be at the same exam location. Good. Mirio was glad that Tamaki would have at least one friendly face with him. Sorry, just quickly interrupting today's video to let you all know that our merch store has received an update. Finally, at last, we have released our 70K merch! Whoop, 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 whoop! If you're interested in picking up some high-quality merch, the link will be in the top line of the description. I recommend hurrying, though. Some items are limited and will only be available for a limited time. These items are also signed by James Seifer. Yes, the one and only. And if you use code WTC70K, again, that's WTC70K, gosh, I'm sounding like an infomercial, you will save 10% on any merch purchase until August 31st. So hurry while you can. Link in the description below, and thank you all for 70,000 subscribers. Now let's get back to the video. Yoop! When Mirio arrived at his exam location, he looked around at his surroundings. It was set up like a city block, a maze of buildings where, somewhere, giant robots were waiting. Oh man, someone breathed out next to him. Mirio turned to see a short boy with curly green hair. I know, right? The boy said. Pretty exciting, isn't it? The boy was startled. Apparently, he hadn't realized he'd been speaking out loud. Typical Deku. Mirio reached out his hand. I'm Mirio Togata. The boy said. Izuku Midoriya. Nice to meet you. Best of luck, Mirio said. He started walking away to find a better position near the entrance. Get moving! There are no countdowns! He heard President Mike say. Oh, shoot! Mirio exclaimed. A stampede of students rushed past him. He couldn't fall behind already. 10 minutes. Just 10 minutes. He muttered to himself as he ran after the group. That was so not enough time. He frantically ran through the side streets. There! A 2-point robot. Mirio dashed towards it. The robot targeted him and started moving in. At the last second, just before they collided, Mirio activated his quirk. He phased through the robot and materialized inside of it, breaking through its wires and shutting it down. He reappeared out the other side of it. That's one down, he said proudly. He quickly grabbed his clothes, which he had also phased through, and put them back on. That would be a hassle having to do that every time, but he didn't want the examiners seeing him butt naked for 10 minutes straight. Mirio weaved through the streets. He'd come across a 1-point robot every now and then, disable it easily, and run past. At some point, he left his shirt behind. Better to just worry about putting on pants and a whole outfit. He thought he was doing pretty well. He lost count of how many points he earned, but still, Mirio pressed on. There were so many talented students here. He couldn't stop, couldn't take a breather. This was do or die time. Suddenly, a huge crash shook the ground. The fighting students all stopped to stare at what was coming towards them. A gigantic robot, at least 5 times bigger than the rest, was lumbering towards them. It was the 0-point trap bot. Like any sane people, the kids all started running away. Mirio was about to join them when he heard someone cry out. A girl with short brown hair was struggling underneath the weight of some debris. Her foot was caught, and the robot was coming straight at her. Hey! Mirio yelled. He started running towards her. But then, a small green blur rushed past him. It leapt into the air, and Mirio caught his breath. Smash! It was the small boy from earlier. Izuku Midoriya. Midoriya yelled as he completely decimated the robot and disarmed the process. Mirio's mouth fell open. This guy, he was amazing. As the robot crumpled to the ground, Muriel let out a cheer, but it died in his throat as he realized something was wrong. Midoriya was falling, and it looked like one of his arms and both of his legs were broken. Would he be able to land safely? Muriel dashed forward. What could he do? Would he reach him in time to catch him? Was there something he could throw underneath Midoriya for him to land on? It was too late. He was going to hit the pavement any second now. Slap! The girl who had been pinned under the rubble had managed to free herself. In a desperate move, she struck Midoriya across the face, and he started floating. She released her quirk's hold on him, and the two of them both slumped onto the ground. Muriel breathed a sigh of relief and ran up to them. Time's up! President Mike yelled. Hey, you okay? Muriel asked the girl. Yes, she said weakly. How's the guy who saved me? Muriel glanced over. Midoriya was being tended to by Recovery Girl. He was in good hands. I think he'll be just fine, Muriel assured her. He helped her up, and they both headed out of the exam area. She thanked him before saying goodbye and going on her way. Muriel looked around. He was supposed to wait for Tamaki after they finished the exams. Midoriya passed by, looking dazed. Good job out there, Muriel said. Midoriya nodded weakly. Thanks. He stumbled away. Muriel wondered why he looked so down. Maybe he didn't get a lot of points? Either way, it probably didn't matter. He had saved someone after all. Muriel had full confidence that Midoriya would get into UA. Hey, Tamaki said as he caned up behind Muriel. How'd it go? Muriel asked. Tamaki shrugged. Can't say for sure. You? I don't know if I got in, Muriel said, but boy did I see some cool stuff. He told Tamaki all about what had happened as they walked home. That sounds amazing, Tamaki said. I'm sure you're right about Midoriya getting in. UA wouldn't turn down someone like that. I saw some pretty talented people, too. He told Muriel about how Nejire Hado had blazed through the robots like they were nothing. He also mentioned a blonde-haired boy who could make explosions. Yes, our angry Pomeranian explosion boy. Lord Explosion Murder! We gotta love him. He probably scored the most points out of anyone, Tamaki said. Man, was he scary. Muriel nodded. The competition was definitely tough all around. It's gonna be hard to wait a whole week to see if we got in. Tamaki clutched his stomach. Ugh. Don't remind me. The following week was filled with sleepless nights, anxious texts to Tamaki, and multiple trips to the mailbox. Muriel thought he'd lose his mind. But finally, the day arrived when Muriel found a letter from UA addressed to him. He lunged for his phone. Tamaki! He yelled as soon as his friend picked up. I know, Tamaki said. I got one too. I'll be right over, Muriel exclaimed. When he arrived at Tamaki's house, he was out of breath. Tamaki didn't even wait for Muriel to ring the doorbell before he whipped the front door open. Let's get this over with, he exclaimed. I don't think my nerves can take much more. The two boys sat down in the middle of Tamaki's room. You first, Muriel said. Tamaki nodded, gulped, and slowly ripped open his envelope. A small circular disc fell out. A holographic projection came out of it. Hello, young Amajiki! A voice boomed. It was All Might, the #1 hero. Tamaki looked like he was going to pass out. I wanted to be the first to congratulate you, the recording of All Might continued. You had stellar results on your written exam. That's promising, Muriel said. However, All Might continued, your practical exam didn't go as smoothly, did it? I knew it, Tamaki said dejectedly. A reel started playing. It was highlights of Tamaki from his exam. In it, he was standing by a wall with his forehead pressed against it and his hood up. The other examinees passed by, except for Nejire. She patted Tamaki on the shoulder, said something to him, then jogged away. What did she say? Muriel asked. She said you can do it, Tamaki answered. It's okay to get stage fright sometimes, All Might's voice said. However, you must overcome it in order to be a great hero. The reel continued. Tamaki walked away towards an abandoned side alley. A small robot approached him. Without hesitation, tentacles shot out of Tamaki's hand and took the bot down in half a second. A little goes a long way, All Might continued. And you managed to rack up 50 points just by taking down small villains in empty alleys. And that's not all. The video continued. A huge 0-point robot came into view. Just like in Murio's exam, the students all started running away. However, one stayed behind. Nejire was helping the others get to safety while holding the robot back with her quirk. Tamaki was standing off to the side, watching. Suddenly, Nejire collapsed. She had used too much of her quirk. Tamaki rushed forward and used his powers to trip up the robot. It went down hard. For your actions, All Might declared. You were awarded 15 rescue points. Tamaki's eyes went wide. I what? Does that mean? You passed, along with the girl you helped, All Might said. Welcome to UA. Murio whooped and started shaking Tamaki. Tamaki just sat there in shock. You're in, man! You're in! Murio yelled. I'm in, Tamaki whispered in a daze. He shook his head. Wait, what about you? Murio's gut clenched. He'd been so excited for his friend that he'd forgotten about his nervousness. With his hand shaking, he opened his envelope. A circular disc tumbled out and a projection of All Might came in. Well, 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 young Togata, he said. You put on quite a show. A reel of Murio's battles started to play, one after the other. Had he really taken down that many robots? It was all a blur in his mind. When the reel finished, All Might came back into focus. Not only did you display talent, courage, and tenacity, but you also showed your compassion. For that, you were awarded 70 villain points and 5 rescue points. Way to go! You've made it! I look forward to seeing you at UA. The recording stopped and Murio stared blankly at the space where it had been. He was in! He and Tamaki were silent for a few heartbeats. Then they both looked at each other and started to laugh. They were nearly in hysterics, with tears streaming down their faces. We did it! Murio cried. We really did it! They were going to UA. Their journeys to becoming heroes were about to begin. Thank you all for indulging yourself in all this information thus far. I really hope you enjoyed it. This was a fun one to narrate. Now, there are a few things that I'd like to go over before the video ends. Firstly, I'd like to thank our Patreons. BD Flames, Ethan Davis, Terry Chills, Shifter Mealies, I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right, and if I'm not, I apologize. Adam Zadjil, Zil, XAVB03, and Joshua Phelps. Secondly, I'd like to thank all of our YouTube members. Toya Costa, Rob the King, Sith Lord 906, CF2364, and Knuckles, Ribiru Tempest, Angel Juarez, Donald C. Stewart, Bryant Greer, and Demonized Fox. Thirdly, if you're in the mood for some great storytelling, We the Celestials has you covered. Are We the Celestials, My Hero Academia, and Naruto What If channels retelling their stories of their namesake anime with the twist? Check it out if you're interested. Fourthly, on behalf of We the Celestials, I'd like to thank everybody involved in today's excellent content production. Their details can be found in the description below. Lastly, if you're interested in what we do here at We the Celestials, I'd like to extend an invitation to join the team. The only caveat is that we only accept members from 16 years old to join our crew. You can sign up for whichever category fulfills your interest by joining the recruitment Discord using the link in the description below. We're always looking for new members to join us. Well, that's it from us for today's video, so thank you all for watching and have a great day.